incredible! This is
The Grove Podcast.
Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to episode 159 of The Grove Podcast. Now, thank you for listening, and I'm sure you're all doing really, really very well following a classy and cruisy FA Cup fourth round win against Wigan yesterday, Sunday, late afternoon, or where it was, whenever you watched it. And as a result, we just found out about an hour ago, we now have a fifth round fixture against Mansfield away. So other than it being at home, I think it's pretty much the perfect fixture given the congestion that we have and the number of fixtures that we have to play. Then it's a really good opportunity. And anyway, look, joining me today to talk about yesterday's cup game, the draw, and the impending Wolves game is Andy. How are you doing? And yeah, what are your thoughts on that draw? And have you seen the whole draw, the draw as a whole?
I'm good, thank you, my friend. I have not seen the whole draw. No, I've seen that Man City are playing Newcastle potentially. Is that I managed to catch that?
So actually, you got Fulham, Southampton, Port Vale or Bristol City versus Sunderland, Newcastle versus Manchester City, Leeds versus Norwich City, Mansfield Town versus Arsenal, Wolves Liverpool, Wrexham Chelsea, and then West Ham versus Mansfield or Brentford, who are playing this evening. And I'm assuming Brentford. So yeah, what were your thoughts on that?
From the Arsenal perspective, kind of one of the better draws to get. I did have some eyes on Wrexham just because of kind of their glory journey through the leagues. Although they may even be in the Premier League next season by how they're playing, so it might just need to wait a year to see them. But I think as good as it could get. I think I'm never one of those ones that says, "Oh, you need to beat the best to get to the final." Just give me League One opposition all the way to the FA Cup final. Just give me that. If that's I know it's not possible, but no, happy with Mansfield. And I think also absolutely buzzing that Man City are away to Newcastle. Newcastle have obviously picked up in kind of over the past week or so. Well, it looks like they potentially have. They had a bit decent win on against Aston Villa. So another 90 minutes in the legs up in Newcastle for Man City is much welcomed. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, just as long as they kick 7 shades of shit out of each other, I don't care really. So that'll be quite good. And I think, and also look, Newcastle won't really have much to play for. Maybe Champions League, but I doubt it. So actually, they'll want to go big on this, whereas Man City will be trying to manage it, and it's not like you can go into that game lightly. Same with Wolves versus Liverpool. Wolves are going to be relegated, so again, this is their chance to have a bit of fun outside of the relegation battle. So that'll be tough. And I reckon Wrexham Chelsea. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a shock there. So again, Chelsea can't go in there easy. And then you've got like West Ham or Brentford taking one of each other out. Fulham or Southampton, much or muchness. Leeds Norwich, much or muchness. So yeah, look, and if you got Port Vale or Bristol versus Sunderland, if they don't show up, we could have a quarter final against Port Vale or Bristol or even Wrexham. I'd happily. I don't care. No one remembers who you played in all the rounds leading up to the final.
No.
Okay, so I'd happily play Mansfield this round, Port Vale in the next, Wrexham in the next, and Macclesfield in the final. There we go.
We've seen off Port Vale once in a knockout competition this season, so yeah, bring it on again.
Bring on again, indeed. So look, as I said, today we'll look back at the fourth round tie against Wigan yesterday, and then very quickly we forgot about it, and now we have to remember about it again. It's back to the Prem ahead of 2 massive away games this week against bottom dwellers Wolves and Spurs. Today we'll just focus on Wolves, but yeah, we'll have a chat about that. So looking forward to that. But before we do, as always do, and sorry if it's getting repetitive for those who have done it, appreciate that. But if you haven't, please give us a nice little 5-star rating, subscribe on the podcast apps, the YouTube channel, wherever you watch or listen to us at The Grove AFC. Helping increase the numbers and increasing the listeners and all about the algorithms, apparently. So be algo friendly and get subscribing, get commenting, and get a 5-star rating, and really appreciate it, and gets us into the ears of other Arsenal fans and non-Arsenal fans who fancy listening to us. So there we go. So appreciate that. Anyway, and Andy, you need to get your mates to find out that you're a YouTube sensation, and or
and over the weekend, and they're like, I've got nothing else to do on Sunday apart from try and find you, because I let it go as a video as well. So they've got my name and my football team and my face to now go off of. So I think it's not a matter of time.
Indeed. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you. We do appreciate it. We love that you do it. We love everyone who listens. And yeah, and there we go. Anyway, on with the show. So, Arsenal 4, Wigan 0, which was a lot of fun. But before we get on to highlights and lowlights, let's touch on the actual on the actual lineup. I think we all knew it was going to be rotated, but the question mark that we all had on when we did the preview pod was who's going to play left midfield. And when we saw the lineup, it was going to be MLS. So were you we were speculating, but he's never going to do it. He might not. But it felt like he did it because he had no other choice. He's not going to play Zubimendi or Rice. But yeah, were you, before what happened, were you looking forward to seeing MLS actually in that position to see what he could do at the sort of left 8 role and what he used to do in the youth leagues? Were you looking forward to that?
I was, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a funny one though, because he nominally has played left back since he came into the team for us, but he doesn't really play left back. He does play midfield. So it's not like we haven't seen him in that role, but I was excited to see potentially him getting a bit further forward, because he doesn't have to have that kind of defensive awareness on at all times. I mean, you might question whether he had it on yesterday. Left back,
we will get to that, don't worry.
But I think generally when I seen the lineup come through, I was pretty excited. I mean, when you, Jamie, and I were talking kind of end of last week after the Brentford game, one of the things that I'd kind of referenced was just having a few more ball carriers in the middle of midfield, and that's probably his biggest strength, his ability to carry through the lines, his ability to kind of shield off players, almost in that kind of Moussa Dembele role from Tottenham. He's always kind of struck me as a similar, not quite as physical, not quite as big, but similar playing style. And I was excited to see what he could kind of offer further forward. But yeah, kind of short-lived excitement, and it was back to the usual for Miles.
Well, I guess there's a view that if and look, okay, so, and it was really weird. So I didn't get to my seat until like literally the players were walking out. Why is Saka at the front? He's not like a mascot. So why is he leading the team out? And like then, all right, who's not playing? And then and then you're like, oh shit, Calafiori. And then you look on the WhatsApp groups, and one door shuts and another door opens, and it turns out Calafiori is injured in the warm up. And before we get to him and the consequences, so well, look, if Calafiori is out, then actually you want MLS to be playing as much left back as possible. So as much as it would have been nice to see him at in midfield, I think Arteta was only doing it because he had no other option, and he didn't want to go anywhere near Zubimendi and anywhere near Rice, and I don't think he was thinking of what happened in the end. So I think it just seemed a logical thing. He's played there in the past. It's where he played in youth teams. So I think it was no bad thing that he went back to left back, because we might need him there depending on what's happened injury. So it turns out Calafiori was injured in the warm-up for the second time in recent weeks, and I think it's the fourth time it's happened to us this season. Twice Calafiori, once Saka, and I'm pretty sure there was another one. I'm not sure where, but so the MLS in midfield door shuts, but we then have Saka in the right 8 or 10 role, which for me, if I had the choice of the two, seeing MLS in midfield or Saka in that role, I want to see Saka in that role, because I think we've always potentially talked about it. Can he come in field? Can he be that creator? And it feels like that was again, were you actually then thinking, oh, this actually could be quite interesting, to see how Madueke and Saka combine, or Madueke and Eza combine? Yeah, that was quite cool.
I think it's a much more it made it far more interesting, because it was obviously not planned. It was like, because otherwise he would have went from the start, but it did make it far like a more interesting. It was so kind of just interesting to see how him and Madueke were switching around. I mean, obviously we play there's a lot of similarities between our game and City. And you can tell that Arteta's played under Pep Guardiola, kind of managed quite closely alongside Pep Guardiola. There is differences. And one of those differences is kind of what we do with the midfield. Like, we play 6-8s. Like, Nice is a more defensively minded 8, whereas City play more 8-10s. Obviously, Cherky, Bernardo Silva, kind of Gundogan when he was back in the team, kind of a couple of seasons back. And Odegaard is always kind of, I don't know, he's always kind of struck me as more of like a City 8-10, but without the delivery, without the numbers. Because I know he had that season a couple of years back where he got the kind of 15-20 goals and assists. But I think as more and more we've got used to him, that season feels like the outlier rather than the trend. And kind of as you're looking at that, I think our system, potentially even more than City's, because we don't play that, the 2-8s, requires our right 8 to be a goals and assists, a numbers, a kind of final action player. And we don't have a bigger final action player than Bukayo Saka. He's obviously been kind of off form this season, struggled with injuries, whatnot. But if we can get him into a position where he's in between the goals, he's picking up pockets that the defenders can't track him as easily, potentially. I'm not sure if it's easier to defend a winger or a right 8. I'm not a clue. But if we can get him in a position where he's closer to goal, taking on more shots, kind of dragging players out, again, back on that ball carriers point that I was like a reference in terms of MLS. If we can use his skill to beat a man, to draw players, to draw players 2 or 3 to him at any one time in the middle of the midfield, and it creates space over the other side, I just think it's a complete kind of, I don't want to go too far because it was Wigan, but it is a bit of a joker in the pack if we can make it work. Because like I said, we need more numbers from that position. And we talked on the last pod about a potential evolution in this team and potentially needing to go to a slightly different model or a slightly different pattern of play or just something slightly different to make it not so predictable and obvious what we're going to do. And I think without wanting to go too hard on it, I think Saka could in that position could be that.
Yeah, I think we've often talked about it. And look, and like you were saying in terms of defending, he always gets doubled up. You never see a midfielder get doubled up on. And also, again, if he did, guess what? If Madueke seems to be on some form and he's showing that thing, okay, he's a bit, his end product can be a bit wild, but if he's a numbers person, if he can get down that right flank and be free, and Saka draws people in, or he can be an outlet, and then Saka, and with Saka in there, he will be unpredictable because he can go on the outside, he can come inside. Imagine, and he doesn't have to run across the whole of the penalty area to get his shot off because he's already sort of halfway there. So I think it's a and we'll get on to Wolves later. It'll be interesting to see if it's something we carry on. If it, depending on his fitness as well. But I think it's a really exciting thing, and also no one's expecting it. So again, we go into the last 12 games of the season with something new, and then something they have to work out, and then you've got a real speedster, a real just sort of just someone who likes to bomb down the flank and cut inside. Then it's sort of like, oh, what do I do? Do I go there? Do I go here? And then it leaves spaces for other, and then it could leave space across the whole of the front line. So I think it could be a potential. He's got the skills, and the other thing is as well is that he can stand up in terms of when we've got Havertz in there, we can use Havertz as an outlet for long balls. He's got the height. But Saka, actually, I don't think, many miss this. When he's playing on the wing, we still use him as a long ball outlet because he's so strong, because he's either got such a great low centre of gravity, so he's really hard to knock off the ball, or is just his lower body is just rock solid. So again, if we can also, like we've had Marino, we had Havertz, and we use them as outlet balls for long, we would be able to use Saka as that outlet as well if he's playing more in the midfield, and it brings into the middle. So I think it creates a lot of opportunities. And again, like all of our team, maybe we've got to talk about Odegaard's position in the team, or we've got to talk about Ezra's position in the team. No, it just gives us another option, something else. At some point, we do need to settle on something. Right, this is our best 11, and this is what we're going to win the title with. But it means off the bench we can do potentially something different, and Odegaard will be important in certain games, like when he came on against Leeds, all of a sudden, brilliant cameo, was pinging balls about, blah, 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 and perfect for that. And again, something Eza could do something. Or if we say, right, crimes, we need to get a goal. Great, we've got those options. So I think it could be an important. And Arteta said, it might not be the last time. He said on his decision to field Saka, that's something that's a possibility, and I wanted to try it, and we might use it in the future. There are still so many games, competitions, and different scenarios to play in this season, and that's a possibility that we have. He's more central. He's closer to the goal. It's a bit more difficult for the opponent to get his reference constantly. He can interchange positions with wide player as well. He's so good at picking up those spaces. When he's there, he can really hurt you with the ball. So the best bit about that is that he's actually admitting it could be something for the future, because we as fans have always said certain things. Oh, it'd be great to see him here, or Martinelli at centre forward, MLS in midfield, Saka in the Odegaard role. But it never happens. But this sounds like I'm pleased by that.
And there's so many points, like I'm kind of thinking back to kind of previous seasons. There's definitely vivid memories of like where you kind of stumble across a lineup change, or you're almost forced into a lineup change. My brain immediately goes to that Santi Cazorla season where he dropped deeper, wasn't playing in the 10 anymore against City, and absolutely bossed it.
Or Marino last year.
Yeah, or Marino last year. And it's like either by hook or by crook, you end up with these potentially temporary, but potentially enduring solutions that you then kind of just build and evolve from. And I think, I don't know, one of the things that I have been kind of slightly aware of this whole season is the element of fortune that we seem to be carrying this season, be it with decisions on the pitch.
FA Cup opponents.
Well, especially FA Cup opponents, that sort of like kind of final game of the Champions League being against Karabakh, not Karabakh, sorry.
Karabakh, yeah.
Rotate like before, like all that sort of thing, and maybe this is just another tiny like kind of line in the sand of a bit of fortune. I mean, it's not for if Calafiori is indeed injured for however long that would kind of null and void the fortune thing. But if it was just a kind of risk management tool to just take him away from a slightly higher intensity game than training might be, although I'm not sure it would be that at all. And then that's what led us to kind of try Saka. Then I think that would be another kind of point for us just to put down as like maybe it is serendipitous, maybe it is our year. Things are falling our way, because last year we certainly weren't.
No, indeed, and look, you mentioned Calafiori. So we'll go on to that again. I was just a very simple question. Are you worried about Calafiori? You know, and there was even suggestion in the group chat, and there's been, when he was last injured, we should be selling him in the summer. So I'm not going to go down that route yet. But are you worried about Calafiori and his fitness and his ability to play? You know, we had him at the beginning of the season. I was he's got more robust, and actually, I think there's a direct correlation. This is definitely correlation, I think, for me, than causation. That since he's been out injured, our attacking you could bring that our attacking play has not been the same since he's been out injured or been inconsistent. And that's to say Hincapié is not good. He's done great, but just very different. And I think there is definitely, when he started to come out of the team in injury, we just haven't recovered our attacking flair. I suggest. You know, I don't think no one's been brilliantly attacking, and we haven't had that sort of brilliant run, but I think we had something about us then, and then since before Christmas, I know December, November, whatever, when he's been out, So, but are you worried about him and his ability, his fitness, and then also the consequences to our team?
Yeah, there's so many points in there that I'd love to get into, because I 100% agree. Like,
well, that's what we're here for, so get into it. We beat Wigan 4-0. Goals were really good. Next.
I've lost a lot of attacking dynamism since he went out the team, and I think there is a question there at why you want to platform your left back in a way that we also, I mean, you've seen Timber running through in the 89th minute to pass to Martinelli against Brentford. I guess there's kind of tactical flexibility, but can we maybe platform our forwards rather than the left back and the right back in certain circumstances? But that's probably for another day, because that's certainly more at the manager's door than anyone else's. But on Calafiori, certainly not worried about the talent. I'm not worried about the fitness. No, only because I think we knew what we were getting into. He obviously was highly rated in Italy, and then kind of had that potentially career-ending injury at Roma, and And then he went.
That was at the very beginning of his career, like when he was like 16, 17, something like that. It was back in 2018, 2019 season.
Yeah,
and he was out for 290 days.
Yeah, so it was. I think it was almost like he it was almost like 50-50. I was watching a documentary or a YouTube video about it the other day, and it was talking about him when he was in hospital, and Daniele De Rossi was like a really good mentor for him while he was the Roma captain at the time.
Yeah,
and he was just kind of talking about that. I can't remember whether it was an Arsenal video or like a Pro Direct Soccer video, but it was interesting. I'll send it to you. And he was just kind of talking about his career, and I just, with the state of modern medicine and the state of modern sports medicine, I don't think there's always an element of risk and always an element of unknown, but I don't think we take that chance knowing what we knew. And I think therefore I am not worried, but it is becoming a slight irritation. I don't. To me, I separate those two things, and it's kind of hard to go too hard on it, because I mean, I think it's potentially fairly likely that it was just a precautionary measure to take him out, and fingers crossed that's what it is. And the fact that we've seen it so many, apart from Saka against Leeds, the fact that we've seen that precaution taken a number of times, then that gives me a kind of crumb of comfort that it's not a long-term thing, and that we're actually just kind of taking him out to avoid a long-term thing. But no, in terms of selling him, I wouldn't be giving one.
I don't want to go down there, but I did a bit of research into this, and I looked up his injury history and days missed, games missed, and then also like the number of injuries. So like you said, at 18-19, he had his ligament injury. I think that big knee injury, 291 days. Then he had another ligament injury the following season, 43 days. Then he's had three hamstrings in a row in the 2021 season. Miss out for 80-90 days, and then some muscular problems out for another sort of like 60 days. And then and this was in Rome, and then was it Genoa and stuff. Genoa's not so bad. And then with Arsenal, with Arsenal, he's missed about 18 games, 40 matches he's potentially missed since he's been with us, and that's calf problems, knee injury, muscle injury, hip problems, muscle injury. And the reason why it's a concern, and we've had Dr. Andrew Mitchell, sort of a friend of Ian's and mine now, and he's like a biomechanic sort of professor and stuff like that, and we've had him on the pod to talk about injuries and how they occur and recurrence, and his thing is the greatest risk factor for a sports injury is your previous history of that injury. So that's why it's interesting. It'd be really good to know what this injury is, but then there's also the I always get the word wrong, but compensatory stuff. So, and I've had this myself because of various knee injuries, ankle injuries, is that when you've got an injury in one part of the body, you overcompensate by putting more stress on another part of the body, and that then gets stressed, and therefore that gets injured and weakens and stuff like that. So you get the compensatory stuff. So either you've got an injury itself repeating itself, or you've got the compensatory injuries. So that's why it's a particular concern, because he's had so many different injuries that it's more likely something's going to reoccur, and your body's weak there. So look, I'm never going to be down on the player. It's like Tomiyasu. We all love Tomiyasu. You just felt so unfortunate that just his body couldn't get right. And it's the same Calafiori. I think some dumb luck last year in some of the Italian games. That shit happens. I think we just hate injuries because you just, I guess with overusing a player and stuff like that, that's a different thing. But just when shit happens, it's so frustrating, because what can you do? And my one thing about this yesterday, and again looking at this up, it's sort of like he had to pull out the warm-ups. Now so when you go into this, there must be something. He must be going in, or there must be a risk level management with all players. And look, players play throughout the season with something niggly, something like that. Maybe we're going to be more risk averse this year. As soon as you feel anything, don't bother. Especially in a game at home to Wigan, or you're better off missing one game than 10 games. So the Saka decision to pull him out of the Leeds game, I hope we won 4-0, right decision to do. It just feels very frustrating, the warm up, because it's just a warm up, but it's sort of like, I know warm-ups the idea is to test the intensity. Is there? They are. I think at the elite level, they are intense. They're doing explosive movements. They're doing sprints, short terms, powerful strikes. So they're trying to replicate, other than the physicality, as much as possible what happened in the game. Now, if you get slight something in the warm up, it has to mean you're going into that game not 100%. Yeah. That to me is it. That to me is it. And then it's just dumb luck, because the question is, well, if you're not fit enough to do the warm up, how can you be fit enough to play? Well, that's because they've made a risk-based decision to say, oh, he'll be able to play the game. So that's the whole purpose of the warm up, in a way, is that, well, maybe from safe fans out there, that you don't find out in training, that you don't find out in the tests. So it's hugely frustrating. Luckily, it's not an important game, but we've not heard anything since, apart from, was it Daljeet in the WhatsApp group who made eye contact with him earlier today? Have you missed the whole chat? Oh, you were out buying? No, it was Danish. Sorry, Danish, who lives adjacent to Calafiori. They made eye contact earlier today, but from that he couldn't work out what his injury was. But there we go.
Like easy tickets for that guy.
Yeah. So
potentially like. Just another thing to throw in about it potentially being precautionary would be the fact that I had actually expected Hincapié to start over Saliba, with Mosquera playing, kind of shifting over onto the right centre back it's Brentford.
Yeah,
he didn't play and he didn't even get on. Would maybe suggest that, I don't know if he's got an injury, because he obviously
Hincapié.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I would suggest it's just resting. Yeah, you got MLS. I think. Yeah, it's just rest. You start Calafiori because he needs some minutes to build back up, because he's missed a game. Hincapié's played a lot recently. So,
yeah, well, exactly. If he was potentially nursing something, then it's like, I mean, I don't think he is either, but potentially, then you just don't play Calafiori, because I don't want MLS going away to Wolves, and I don't want MLS going away to Tottenham. So you set Calafiori, you play the precautionary move, and you play MLS in the home game against the League One team.
Yeah, there you go. Well, look, this is the thing. We're blind to it. We don't know. The club have to be cautious, because they don't want to put something into public domain, and then Wolves can use that and stuff like that. So let's just see. And look, well, again, it suggests that he won't be playing against Wolves, Tottenham less so. But even then, you wouldn't start him at Tottenham, because he hasn't played games. He looked rusty when he came on against Sunderland. So it's just, I think we're going to be doing without him for a few games, or have him on the bench. But it's a concern. Let's just see. The question too, that was put in the we should sell him in the summer. Well, if everyone knows his injury history, who's buying him? Because we're not getting the 50 million or whatever he's worth if he can't stay fit. So, but we'll leave that for another day. Anyway, so it ends up. So Saka plays, MLS back at left back. It's a ridiculously strong team, given it's practically a second string team. So we go in. So look, from the game, what were your highlight and low light from the Wigan game? We can finally talk about it 27 minutes in.
What an absolute nightmare for those Wigan boys as well. You're replacing a left back with Bukayo Saka.
Exactly.
But yeah, in terms of the highlight, just the first 30 minutes, I think it's the obvious place to start. It's the obvious place to go. It was just total vibes. I think we'd referenced the Wigan game as a bit of a palate cleanser when me and Jamie were having a chat last week, and it certainly was that. It was just like there was no pressure coming into it. There was no kind of like, I don't know, if that was a Premier League game and Calafiori drops out, you're a bit more like, oh no, but you're just like, oh yeah, we get to see something entertaining, and there's not really much risk associated with trying it. So that was kind of the immediate highlight, and then it kind of played out for that first 30-35 minutes, basically up until I think they got an injury right after one of our goals. It was phenomenal. It was like a kind of hark back to kind of Wenger era football, and obviously we've got that similar to the Kairat Almaty game, that major asterisk over. What is it, 20th in League One or something?
22nd in Div 1. So I've got it in big black letters here. Caveat: Wigan are 22nd in Division 1.
So it's kind of like, exactly. You just got to play the team in front of you, and I thought it was incredibly entertaining. The link up between Eze on the kind of in the left 8 role, Saka, Madueke, Jesus, who is that kind of like, when he's on it, and like he's maybe struggled physically against Premier League defences. I mean, we've seen Gyökeres struggle against Premier League, the physicality of Premier League defences, but Wigan just aren't that level, and it was just a really, really entertaining kind of first 30 minutes that we just don't get to see in the Premier League, because so many teams just come in, set up shop, camp, put kind of 9 players behind, and kind of try and
they did play a suicidal high line in the first half hour. We're Wigan. Hey, let's go to Arsenal and play a high line.
Negligent that high line.
And actually, it was Jamie Carragher's son that went off, and it was FA Cup FA Cup winner with Arsenal, Matt Smith, who came on, and I think they went to a back 4 or whatever, but they thought, maybe playing so high up the line and maybe a bit better defending might do us good. Otherwise, this is going to be an absolute avalanche. But
it's almost like Atletico Madrid and Diego Simeone trying. That wasn't enough of a window into what might happen if you don't back up.
Exactly. And did you have a low light?
Well, I guess just the kind of already covered it, but I guess the potential, the unknown, but the potential injury to Calafiori, because we need to get we kind of got like a week or a 2-week period in between kind of Christmas and New Year. We had like nominally a fully fit squad. Obviously Havertz was just back. Jesus was just back after a year, so not really fully fit, but you know what I mean. But it seems since then it's just been, we've lost Havertz again. We've lost this player. Marino's injured. Maybe now it's
it feels like we're going in pockets. At the beginning it was the defenders, and then it was the forwards, and now it's the midfielders. So everyone's having their turn. No one's going to be left out.
And I guess it's that analogy of what you said about the kind of the muscles, like when you've had an injury and then you overextend another part of the team potentially. There
is that because you can't do the rotation so much, or you got there's a couple of things that's actually led to things. It's game state. We just have not been in game state where we've been able to pull in and pull out players, and we'll get onto that second with regards to Norgaard. But then also you're injuries again. You're playing players more often than you want to, and you can't rotate to keep them fresh and stuff like that. But also look, we've treated Havertz with really kid gloves in a really cotton, just not stressing him out too much, and he still gets a bit of a muscular injury. So it's just the nature of the game. I think it's cumulative, maybe not for this season, but cumulative over season. And we all talked about, everyone's playing too much football and stuff. So we're not going to go down that route, but we all understand where it's there, and we just got to deal with it. And I try not to harp on about it. The couple of things that, because other teams have injuries all the time, City have had their injuries, Liverpool have their injuries, Tottenham have had their injuries. So we're injured. The thing that frustrates me the most is that we're such a good bloody team. We're not getting a chance to see it on a regular basis, and we're always having to firefight. And that's the bit that annoys me. That we can't show our true selves. How many times of this season have we been able to show our true selves? We're always having to make do and mend. And I think that's the whole point of a squad. But you just want a bit of like, wouldn't it be nice to have a run of games and look how fucking good we are with these players, and look what we can do. And that's what upsets me more about this stuff, rather than saying, woe is us and injuries versus everyone else, because it's just past a bit. But
I think that's just something that's par for the course these days. I don't think you can have both. I don't think you can have what you just explained and then also be in 4 tournaments, 4 trophies by March. I just don't think both of them exist. So
exactly. I mean, for me, my highlight, the obvious thing, I think, particularly about the first half, there was a couple of things. One was the Eze performance. I mean, he had a bit of a torrid time in the first half at Brentford, got hooked at half time, and we all knew you've got to come and show what you can do, and caveat blah 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 Wigan. But he put in a really good performance, and just you could see his creativity in his eye, for a pass, and that the 2 passes for the first 2 goals where we're just like, and again from where I was sitting sort of behind them, and just the way it just sort of like cut through like the defensive lines and the midfield line, and then the timing of the runs for both of them to get on. We'll get onto them in detail in a bit, but it was really, really good to see. So it was really nice to see his performance and him to show us what he can do. Okay, granted, bit of extra space, bit of time, etc., etc. And then on top of that, the Norgaard performance as well. He pretty sort of cool, calm, sort of like quietly classy sort of player, just gets on with it, no nonsense, gets the ball, pass it on, whatever, just that's fine. But also he showed his pass for the Jesus goal was like a lovely weighted pass. So I thought that my highlights were those 2 particular performances. And in terms of low light, Calafiori thing, and it would have been nice to score a couple more in the second half, just because you just want to see more goals. But you can understand why not. But as stupidly, at half time, they had a bit. They wouldn't have shown this on TV, but they had a mascot penalty shootout, and I don't know if you've seen this on the socials. Yeah, Ganosaurus versus Wigan's Krusty the Pie. So instead of having the children come on and do the penalty shootouts, they had a mascot penalty shootout, and I was trying to get a cup of tea, and all I kept on hearing was cheers, and I was like, what's going on? And I could sort of see it briefly and I looked briefly on like a screen somewhere. So every time Ganosaurus was taking a penalty and or saving a penalty, it was like, way. So I'm a bit annoyed that I missed that. So Ganosaurus won 3-1.
Right.
At the so there's the magic of the cup there, right there. So I was a bit annoyed that I missed that, because it'd been quite funny to.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the quality of those penalties. I can't imagine it's easy to hit one top bins if you're in the. I don't know what those. How
well, actually, Ganosaurus has got obviously the whole outfit is things. So he's got his size 50 things, whereas I think Krusty the Pie actually was just, you could see his legs and had proper shoes and everything like that. I think Ganosaurus just sort of like just lay down in the goal, and there's no way he could get past it. But there we go. Yeah. Enough of that. So look, onto the game itself. The stats. We had 73% possession to their 27. We had 2.3 xG to their 0.36. I mean, they had no shots in the second half, and so all that was in the first half. We had 17 shots to their 2, 6 on target to their 2, and we had 4 big chances. We missed one of them. So pretty dominant. And I think, as we alluded to, it was a fun, relaxing afternoon away from the pressures of the Premier League. I think a chance for everyone to chill, relax, see some players get some minutes. So I think that was really good. And look, we were obviously going to be too strong for them, so we didn't. We just did what we needed to do, and even if it was a massively rotated team, and what was interesting, and then we went 4-0 up. We tried to see what we could see if we could score more goals. But once you're 4-0 up, disappointed that we didn't see more goals. But you don't want the team overextending themselves, chasing for something that they don't need to. Basically, everyone's switched to Wolves. So if you, in that context, I'm more than happy, because I did think, we had the great momentum in the first half, and everyone's all buzzy and all the rest. We got those 4 goals, great play, and all the rest of it, great atmosphere. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice to carry that atmosphere in the second half, and then we carry that atmosphere into Wolves? But then, having thought about it, no, they've all gone, right, job done. I'm going to just do the bare minimum. So we then go to Wolves, and they don't think like us fans. So
exactly.
And if they'd extended themselves for what, it would have been. It's an FA Cup game, so it would have been utterly meaningless anyway. So more than happy with that.
And I think the kind of rationale for continuing to go all guns blazing in that second half and maybe scoring 7 or 8 is like, it builds confidence. But I don't know. Like, I remember when I used to play football, and like, when you know a team is like worse than you, and these guys know they're like there is league position. What is it? I can't remember, 80 odd league positions between, so they'll know that going into it. Like, when you're on the more kind of Sunday league, Saturday league circuit, it's league positions, but you don't, like, anyone can have a mercurial player. You don't really know what's going to happen. So when you're 4-0 up, and then you go 5-0 up, to a certain extent, it's confidence building on that day, because it's a laugh.
Yeah,
but that you then forget about it for the next day, and it's like, well, I don't know how much beating. Well, say we would have beat Wigan kind of 7 or 8-0 yesterday. I don't think that makes the blindest bit of difference going into Wolves or Tottenham.
No.
And it's not worth the risk of doing a hamstring or Trossard going in, because Trossard, I think, got a bit of a knock when he came on.
He got. I think, I saw it. I think it was just impact, so I think I wasn't so worried about it.
Exactly. But if you're going for kind of 7-8 goals for no material benefit, because it's obviously a knockout competition, you're just like, just don't do it. Play the game state, and just get through.
Yeah, I mean, if we could have said, right, can we call the game at half time? Let's all go home. I mean, I guess it's just good for a bit of, you try a few things, you see what happens. But they just literally 4-0, job done. Let's try a few things. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Let's just get through this, and Wolves is it. But I mean, what was pleasing about yesterday as well, and watching it again, that particularly first half, not apart from the suicidal high line, watch it was the fluidity of our attacking play. And I don't know if it comes across on TV versus there, but you could just see Nelly and Jesus swapping, Saka and Madueke swapping, and then Eze coming in. So the 4-5 in the front line, all really threatening, all very attacking, all really hard to mark, especially for a Division 1 team. And it was really, really nice just to see that. Again, you just with a bit of freedom, and that's the whole point of that game. This is where you remember, okay, it's always fun when you win, but they were playing with a sense of freedom, a sense of ease, without that jeopardy. And so that's maybe something that they can say, it's a reminder, say, we can do this. And it's sort of maybe a reminder to sort of play a bit more with that freedom. But that was really, really cool to see yesterday. So, we scored we had that 30-minute spell where we scored, four goals. So the first one was on the 11th minute. Madueke, who's now 3 goals in the last 5 starts, so he's on a good run of form.
What a finish, by the way! But the pass itself, you've already kind of referenced from Eze, that cutting ball, lovely. But I absolutely loved the finish. Like, see that kind of leaning back, kind of puts it.
Well, some Henry-esque sort of thing, wasn't it? Sort of thing, and first time, sort of like, it was really, really nice, and that shows someone who's in confidence. I think it was given what he's done, and. Yeah, you're right. I really like that. I think. Well, I was going to ask, which is your favourite of the? I'm going to discount the own goal. So Madueke, Martinelli, and Jesus. Which was your favourite of the 3 goals?
It's I think it's definitely the first one. It's definitely Madueke's one. I absolutely love that Jesus finish. But
the chip, yeah. It looks good. Yeah, I'm the same. Just it just because it was just. We hadn't seen it, and it's like, oh wow, what a pass, and oh wow, what a finish, and we're just not used to seeing that. So it was something fresh, and then we're not used to seeing it, and then 8 minutes later, the first one was through the middle down the right channel, the second one down the left channel. Another, and also the other good thing about the first one, it wasn't quite, but almost was a no look pass, but it wasn't quite. Martinelli scores, so another great pass by Eze down the left channel after taking it quite well on the halfway line. But Martinelli started to get past 2 defenders to get to the ball, and that was a brilliant finish. I mean, do that against bloody Forest and Brentford, please. But it was a superb finish. But he had to work for it. It wasn't like he ran onto an open ball. He still had to get to it. So that was nice. And now he's got 10 goals in cup competitions this season, which is he's got 6 in the Champions League, 4 in the FA Cup, and it's first time an Arsenal player had reached double figures in cup competitions since Ian Wright in 94-95. So
that just reflects the kind of the significantly more space he gets in the cup competitions. Like, he just, like, the Premier, we've kind of already laboured the point, so we won't go into it too deeply, but he just seems to get so much more space on that left side compared to the Premier League games. So kind of for a player like him who is a bit more kind of open spacey, doesn't necessarily he's got that kind of shuffle trick that he does to try and, I don't know, kind of beat the defender, but he isn't super dribbly, isn't super tricky. So he is, he's always going to benefit from the kind of more open spaces that you do get from the cup competitions, and it is a reminder of what he can do, like potentially in a team that gets a bit more space.
Yeah, and it's not the first time Eze and Martinelli have combined, because they combined for the equaliser against City. So, and again, that was another one running in behind, running into space. So, it is very much, he's definitely a horses for courses or horses for cup competitions player by the looks of things. Then on the 25th minute, OG back on the score sheet. It's good to see him back in form. So, and this was again Madueke down the right flank, did really well to keep the ball in play, combines with Saka. Saka crosses it. Jesus, I think, should really be scoring with that first time, but he sort of deflects off the bomb with his foot, and it was, looking at it was quite funny to see it just hit off the defender's head and into the goal. That was quite amusing. Not a lot he could do. It was quite an amusing goal. But Jesus, I think, should be getting onto it. And I was thinking, he's going to be one of these games where he should be scoring and he doesn't. But then we have a couple of other chances. In the 27th minute, again, ball over the top by Norgaard, and that little dink finish over the oncoming keeper. Yeah, it was lovely to see. So that's all 3 of the forwards scoring. Well, So it was nice to
You know, 'cause
nice to see.
I did as soon as that fourth one went in. I put a message into one of the other group chats saying something along the lines of Gyökeres is going to be sitting with an erection on the bench at the thought of coming on here. But I mean, he did come on, but outside that,
Well, he did hit wood in the second half, didn't he? So there we go. And that was 18 goal involvements in 23 FA Cup appearances for Arsenal. So there's 11 goals and 7 assists. So again, another one who likes the cup competition. And I think Wigan had a couple of chances. We had a couple of chances. I think Kevin made a good save. I think it was Taylor was their centre forward. I felt sorry for him because he was just like a lone man against Saliba and Mascara and was just like.
I thought he did quite well. Do you know that?
No, he did. And there was one where the goalkeeper smacked it out to him and he controlled it on his chest on a halfway line. It was like, wow. Incredible.
I was like that. I was like, geez, it kind of reminds you of that, that kind of age-old question of how many goals would you get in the Premier League if you played for Man City or Arsenal? And it's like the answer is 0. You would get none because the elite level is just that much further ahead than what you're used to. Yeah. You're thinking back to your school days, and like I played with a few players. Not played with. I'm sorry, went to school with a few players who dropped down into the school team when they were allowed to, that were at Rangers and Dundee United, and they were leagues ahead of us, leagues ahead, and they now play. One of them doesn't play football anymore, and one of them plays amateur football, so he's maybe on like £200 a week, and you're like, that was the level of them. And then you've got everyone in the Scottish League, and then you've got everyone in League One, which Wigan, and like the level of a striker to play for Wigan, it must be like top 1% of players in the league. What I mean?
Absolutely. No, these players are really good. So I felt sorry. I think he did really well. I just felt sorry for him because he was basically on his own. It's like, right, here's the ball, go and do something with it. And you got Mascara, who's become a brilliant centre back, and then Saliba is like, oh, great. It's like, but yeah, he almost scored, but again, Kepa made a decent save. And yeah, look, it pans out. And then look, the second half, I think Saka, I think there was planned substitution. I think he was either going to get 45 minutes, and before the game, he would have got 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So he comes off, Gyökeres comes on. He comes on hoping to score, and it was interesting to see how we played, and we went to sort of 4-2-4, 4-4-2, 3-3-4. Again, fluid movement across the attacking line, but also then in midfield. I think Jesus dropped back nominally into midfield, but not so much. Then sometimes it was Jesus and Gyökeres up front, and then we had wingers. So yeah, it was just basically a lot of shape shifting, and you can do whatever you want basically because Wigan weren't going to do anything. Yeah, then Gyökeres hits the post. And then the rest of the game is a bit of trying, bit of this. Maybe Eza had a few shots. Maybe he could shot a bit more, but yeah, no one really cares. I think the only couple of notable things that happened in the second half was, Salmon coming on for Saliba, and a 16-year-old at centre back. You forget he's 16 years old, which is just nuts to have even against Wigan. These are still big lads and whatever. So a lot of trust there. I mean, and that was at 62 minutes. Okay, granted we're 4-0, but it's half an hour to go, so he's a good chunk of time. Yeah. And then
this season as well, isn't it? Like in Arteta. I guess Arteta did give Nwaneri's debut a few seasons back, but I wouldn't ever say he's slow to blood in youth. But this year, like despite kind of quite clearly needing to win something, he has kind of taken the opportunity to play these players. I'm always kind of thinking about that. Obviously, earlier in the season, that game against Liverpool, and like Max,
he put Dowman on instead of Trossard.
Exactly, nice. Like generational talent, but it's away at Anfield when you need a goal, and like that just shows the level of trust he's got in these players. And I think it's just. It's just such a fantastic thing for us to have that almost Saliba. Like I never want to lose Saliba, but when you can see kind of youth prospects coming through, still obviously a lot of development to go.
Yeah, he's 16.
When you see youth prospects that kind of have the level of trust that Arteta places in him, I think that's only a positive.
Yeah, and then White goes off in the 79th minute, and we're all going, because apparently Norgaard sort of intimated over to the bench that he had a hamstring injury. White had a hamstring injury, so he comes off, Submendy on, but apparently he posted on Instagram today, and in it he said no injuries, so let's hope that's genuine. Hopefully that's true. You never know what to trust with him because you just know he's sort of very susceptible at that moment, and it has been a bit interesting that he hasn't played more, and a bit like Norgaard. So we on White and Norgaard. So two that maybe you expect a bit more minutes. I think with Norgaard, the game state just hasn't quite been there. We would bring him on if we're winning games 2-3-0. Then you'd bring him on and fine, take off rights, But even then, he is a quality player. He was captain of Brentford. He's played at all these stadiums before, so I'm not sure why that is. And with White, Timber's look knackered, even though he'll never admit it, and he'll just keep running. He's like the knight in the holy, or Monty Python Holy Grail. Like, it's just a flesh wound. He'll just keep on running and running and running, even though like his whole body's falling to bits. It's just like and Arteta keeps playing it, and maybe again White could have played a bit more, but I don't know if with a White's body's up to it.
Like, not even from the, I mean, yes, from the fitness perspective, but they do offer different things. Like White is a much better, for me, he's a much better attacking player, and for those home games against,
Sunderland was an example where I don't think he could have played White rather than Timber at home to Sunderland.
I was even thinking the likes of Liverpool. I mean, it wasn't like a couple of seasons ago. Like White was our starting right back. He's an elite right back. He would get into most Premier League teams. It's not as if he's a complete diddy defensively, but he offers a lot more going forward. Likes of Man United, where we could beat Liverpool, where we drew. It's obviously going miles back, and it's all in retrospect and hindsight's 2020. But the Man City game, where I can't remember what his fitness was back then, but you're playing at home. Like, you've got one of the best kind of defensive covering right centre backs behind him. You've got Declan Rice in there to sweep up. Just go a wee bit slightly more offensive with White. So I think it's the fitness thing, but it's also the tactical fit and flexibility that he gives you, as well as the just clear relationships that him and Odegaard and Saka quite clearly have. We did notice yesterday, the overlapping. That he did. You sort of see that more, so it was nice to see. So let's just see. But he seems to be okay. So there we go. And then the final bit was Kepa off, Setford on. So there was a goalkeeper change, which I thought was a nice touch. Moz went on to the group chat and said, "What's the point?" I thought it was that way, and we are that sort. I think we are a bit of a club like that, and it was nice to see Kepa, go off and not make a fuss, as he's done in previous cup games. No, he was never going to, but do you care? It's just a nice touch. It's 87th minute. We're winning 4-0. Might as well give him his home debut. Yeah, I think if it was me, I would want to be able to kind of say, I mean, it is only a few minutes, but I would like to say I played in the Arsenal first team, absolutely. I mean, what is it who's that that kind of third goalkeeper from Man City, Scott Carson, the really old boy? And
he's won so much without actually touching a ball.
Yeah, but he's just quite clearly, he knows he's not going to play, and he's sound around the dressing room. Do you know what? Sometimes that is needed. Like, Setford's obviously a bit more of a prospect. He's not quite in the same role. But do you know what? Like, just sometimes it's nice to do the nice thing. And he's not going to play for the rest of the season. And this was our last opportunity. So just
no, exactly. Yes, it's more about Moz than it does about Arteta. That's what I can say.
He's driving me to Birmingham on Wednesday night for the Wolves game. So we need to be nice.
There we go. So I think, as I said, it was a nice little touch, and look, he did it brilliant. Yeah, his first thing was to claim a high ball into the box, and he claimed it really well, and did good. So that was it. Look, nothing but having game over. That's our 22nd clean sheet of the season after around 45 games we played. So having a clean sheet 1 in 2. No, I haven't checked what this is like compared to AOS, but that sounds pretty good to me. And if you're keeping a clean sheet every other game, you're going to win more often than not. So that's pretty good going for me. So
move on from the game, just a very quick point on Eze, because I thought, especially
I was going to say, which player stood out or anything else you wanted to talk about there. So go for it.
Yeah, it was just, so I think in terms of the player that stood out, it would have been Norgaard, but I think we've kind of touched on him enough. But I just wanted to make a kind of tiny point on Eze, because I think it would have been quite easy for him to go kind of back into his shell after getting hooked on Wednesday against Brentford. There was a lot of criticism that came his way. From me, I said he wasn't making himself available enough. But you could see in the first half, especially yesterday, he was really trying. Like he was really, you could see in his facial expressions, even when he was going in, like from the pre-game warm-up, his face just looked as if he wanted to kind of prove a point. And like, again, obviously League One, but I just really like the kind of effort and just the mentality he kind of approached the game with. Because he could have even taken, I'm starting against Wigan as a bit of a kind of a negative again, because he came in Champions League games and won Premier Leagues and be that kind of difference maker for us. And maybe in another world he would have been playing that well that he would have been invested in this game. So it was quite easy. His head might have been down, but I don't think he played like that at all. And I think that's incredibly positive for trying to keep him in the group, because we kind of slightly lost him after Aston Villa and I want to lose him again after Brentford. So I think that was a good sign that we're potentially not going to do that this time.
Yeah, I think maybe you just can't dismiss any opportunities to have to show what you can do, basically, and it shows the character. You're right, he could retreat, could be sulk, but no, I think he doesn't strike me as that sort of character. I think maybe he's just more disappointed in himself, so he goes right. It's the usual thing. There's no one who's more disappointed in that performance than me, sort of thing. So I think he's maybe realised that. I mean, look, he had 10 progressive passes, 2 key passes, 2 assists, 10 into the final third, 3 passes into the box. He had 6 shots, 1 on target. 5 progressive carries and stuff. So look, he was being an offensive threat. So let's see if we can carry that on. I think he's definitely more suited to the left-hand side of the pitch. So, and this is the thing. So look, he's not going to displace Declan Rice. So it depends. If we bring in Eze, we have to sort of maybe shift a bit. So you do have Zubimendi and Rice more of a sort of double pivot as a 2 behind, and Eze is a bit more central, because I don't think it works with Zubimendi at the back and then Rice on the left and Eze on the right. I think it's just more. And so this is why I think, had it not been for Trossard's form this season, so all of a sudden Trossard's a pain in the neck. because he's been so good, it means we haven't been able to see Eze. I said it, but this is a good thing. But I'm just joking, tongue in cheek, because I think Eze off the left, he can do what Trossard does, and maybe even be a level above that. But Trossard has been so good this season that, well, why would you put him in there and get Eze into that role and stuff like that? And especially what Trossard's definitely picked up this season, his defensive work has been superb. His tracking back, his energy and effort, and you come on and last season or previous seasons you see him as he's come on as a secondary player. So you have, for me in my mind, you have primary players and secondary players. Now when he comes on, he has the aura of a primary player within the team. And when he starts, he's one of the I'm one of the primary players here, and he comes on as a sub. He's a primary player.
Takes a bit
and
more.
That's it, and it has that aura about him. Whereas you can see other players, you can sort of tell that they're more secondary players that come on, and I've come on to sort of do a job as a sort of a finisher, or as a finish out the game or whatever. Likes of Martinelli, bit like Eze. Madueke is sort of borderline now. I'd say still secondary sort of thing like that. Norgaard. So yeah. But I would imagine if Trossard hadn't been doing what he did this season, I think we would have seen more of Eze off the left hand side doing what we expect from Trossard. So it'll be interesting to see how we fit him in going forward, because so there may be games where you can either play Rice at the base and then you have Eze and Saka, or Eze and Odegaard, or whatever like that. But yeah, I think off the right not so great, but off the left, so we need to try and find a way to get him there. Be good. Before we get into the only, not negative, but MLS still gives me concerns defensively. There was a couple of times yesterday he seems to get easily spun and then outpaced, and then he has to foul, and he got a yellow card. And I just don't think, going forward, great, fine. For a game where you just think, right, I'm just going to do nothing wrong, I don't think there was anything there that gave Arteta more confidence in him. He just basically showed the same concerns that we will have about his current defensive form. Like last year, he seemed to be getting to the ball and getting in front and tackling. Now he gets in tight, but they spin him too easily. And I think, I'd be a bit concerned about. Well, if Calafiori's injured, so it's I don't know. Did you notice the same as well?
Yeah. I know it's kind of hard to see what it is, whether it's a concentration issue or whether it's more that the other teams have slightly figured him out a wee bit. But he can clearly do it, or he used to be able to do it, because we watched him against Real Madrid.
Yeah,
and he locked down Rodrigo, who we were all crying for to come over last summer. So he can clearly do it. I think if it is a concentration thing, maybe it's more of a respect thing. Maybe he thinks he's too good for Wigan, therefore doesn't have to pay as much attention. Maybe it's 4-0 up, a bit of a game state thing. But it was, especially that yellow card in the second half. You're like, you've just been done. Like you like, do you know what I mean? You're kind of you drop off there. There was a few in the second half as well with their right back who, he looked quite an athletic runner. And he looked as if like he was the Premier League, like physically. He was the League player, and Miles was more of the kind of League One player. Certainly not talent wise, but I think it's just, I don't know. I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of he probably isn't concentrating, and it's also slightly that the players have slightly just got a wee bit.
Maybe it's a confidence thing, and he's got in his head, that sort of thing. So it's like, you're trying too hard and you get worse. That thing when you try harder, you get worse, sort of thing. Maybe somehow to relax. So I don't know, but I think the main takeaway is, Arteta's not going to trust him, and he's only going to play him when he really has to play him, and that was my takeaway, which is a shame, because we all like him, we all want to see him develop. We all need him as an option, especially if Calafiori is injured. But I think you're more likely now to see Timber move over to left and bring White or Mascara in, and I just don't think he did himself any particular favors yesterday, which again it's a shame, but we'll see. So that was Wigan 4-0, and we'll get onto your 3 reviews. We've just got quite a few, so I've had to whittle them down. So thank you for sending those in on Blue Sky, X, Threads, TikTok, and as always, apologies if I mangle your name, your handle. It's just I'm just rubbish. Right. Anyway, so Blue Sky, Cheech, calm down, people. Yeah, we are. That was definitely a chance to calm down. Lorio Parks, Saka versus Odegaard. Yeah, interesting dilemma, and I'd go Saka at the moment. I would go Saka, and Mr. C Laguna and Robin M both came back with nice palate cleanser. So great minds think alike, and it was a chance just to chill, relax, forget about the Premier League for 24 hours or so. That was on Blue Sky. On Threads, Danny Mast, welcome back, Ezra. Yep. Devoted Pavement, great name. We needed that. We did indeed. Flood Colm, great 30 mins. Yeah. Sunny loves TX. He sent me a load, and I'll just pick out Norgaard exudes calm, and he definitely did. And Mr. Andrew Nelson, Norgaard is class. Yeah, the more I see him, the more I like him. The Johnny Man through the middle. Yeah, we need to tap more through the middle. Astrid Felicia Lim, great goals galore from Dial Square. Nice training session. Yeah, it definitely turned into that. Hath 100, quadruple still on. It is. Unfortunately, I think everyone's forgetting. Man City can also win the quadruple, by the way.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? I'm throwing my phone away. I'm never going to go on social media, and I might just move back to New Zealand.
Yeah, he's just on that. See that song Second Again, Ole Ole. I nearly put my phone through the TV and we were phoning. I hate that, and I know that's what it's designed for. But can you imagine next season if they were to do the quadruple? Oh my God.
It'll be so bad. It's so funny. I don't know. Anyway, G backs the 31 we needed. We did indeed. And Gorilla Phoenix, we learnt nothing. He was less positive about that, but I guess you could see it from that point of view. But there we go. You can only play and beat and do what you can in front of you. On X, dubs for Sam. I like this one. If it happens, Arteta is quad father. That would be a great nickname. And on TikTok user and a whole bunch of numbers expected Minnows victory. Yes, it was. Then on to the Grove WhatsApp group. Sasha, good little tickle. That's because the goalkeeper for Wigan was called Tickle. Moz, MLS experiment postponed. Alistair, enough warm-up injuries. Yeah. Daljit, MLS midfield curse. And then Jamie Payton of this parish, Sons of Kanu. And he had to explain to me, and I should have known this, but it was basically a reflection on Eza, Madueke, and Saka, who are all of Nigerian descent, as is our wonderful Unwanku Kanu. So there we go. All right. Anyway, thank you for sending those in, and we'll look forward to more of those after Wolves.
If we do the quad, I think you should get that quad father tattoo.
Tattooed, yeah, with a picture of Arteta. Definitely. No, I'm not going to make any claims like that because I don't know. Would you? There you go. What tattoo would you have? Would be the least worst or worst least tattoo would you have, and to ensure we won the quadruple?
Oh, Jesus.
Do you have any tattoos?
No, I've not got any tattoos.
I've
changed my mind
got a
at the
couple.
one tab, so I wouldn't. I wouldn't be committing to anything like that. I'll need to come back to you on that one. That's too. I mean, honestly, if we won all four, I would. There's probably not much I wouldn't do.
Exactly. So look, we're back to Premier League action against Wolves on Wednesday evening. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. It is a massive week. Look, there's no such thing as an easy game in the Premier League, but Wolves away, and look, we only beat them 2-1 and 2 own goals that got that out of our place, but this has got to be the closest thing to a relatively easy game in the Premier League. They're rock bottom, they're all but relegated, they got poor form, so and we have to win. We have no choice. It is a weird one, but to go 7 points clear and put pressure on the City. And look, we've got Wolves, then Tottenham away, then we've got Chelsea at home, and then Brighton away, and they've got Newcastle at home, Leeds away, Forest at home, and then West Ham away. So we have to put the points pressure on. So with that in mind, you're heading up with as the aforementioned Moz. What are you looking forward to and not looking forward to, as far as this game's concerned?
Looking forward to would be exactly getting there. It's been a stadium I've wanted to kind of visit for a while. Get a few pints, have a wee sing song. But no, more seriously, probably the opportunity to see Saka in the 10 again, because I think that is something that I would give a go. Like you kind of referenced it there, although I maybe wouldn't have went that hard on the we're going to win.
No, I don't agree. No. I'm being honest here. I don't believe in the jinx bullshit. They are rock bottom. They are all but relegated. They're on poor form. We have to go away and win.
Well, maybe if you can go on a Wolves pod between now and then and bring that magic that you did against Aston Villa with the 4-1, then I'll be a lot more confident driving down the road. But I'd really like to see Saka in the 10 again and see what that, because I think, we touched on it earlier, but the needing to kind of maybe evolve somewhat, and I think we've seen potential against Wigan. Let's see if it can work again against, I guess, like you say, the lowest risk potentially team that we could potentially be coming up against. What is then interesting is what you do in the rest of the midfield, because I don't think you play. I don't know. Maybe you do play Norgaard. I'm not sure. I don't think that does happen, but I think what then happens in the midfield is really, really interesting. Not looking forward to the drive is probably their fans. I always remember a video from a few years back, because I think the way the away end,
the glass boxes, but above where the away fans are.
On the video, the guy who was, I don't know if he'd been on pints for like 10 years or whatever, but he's right
smacking the glass.
But that was when they were a wee bit better, so they had kind of like a few players, and I think they fancied themselves as a bit of a European places contender. So they're obviously not that now. So maybe they are a bit more resigned to their fate. Certainly when you sell your best striker in January, that's not a good sign for them. So, but yeah, I think their fans, the drive, and just the general nervousness of that needing to win. Because I felt it there when you were explaining it. It felt like coming back. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, we need to win. Look, as I said, we're 4 points clear, 57 points, plus 32 goal difference. So maybe a chance again to get a couple of goals. But yeah, need to just win. Simple. As Arteta, I've done your speech, Arteta. Just win. I'm looking forward to getting back to winning ways in the Prem. Hopefully doing it with some style and swagger, just to bring that, like we did against Leeds, like we did against Sunderland, showing who we are, build that confidence for the final push, the final 12 games of the season, and then we got North London derby at the weekend. So just to get the momentum going, and look, beat Leeds 4-0, beat Sunderland 3-0, drew 1-1 at Brentford. If we win this one and we win against Tottenham, you look at that little pocket of games. That's great. That's was it 13 out of 15 points, and that's a nice little run you're putting together, and that is momentum. It's just the Brentford game in isolation is just knocked a lot of people for six, and there's multiple reasons. We discussed that last time. So just get the momentum going, and just don't want to repeat a performance of the home game of Wolves. I'll take the result. I'll take the results, but the performance was poor. We won in the 94th minute to an own goal. We gave away an equaliser in the 90th minute. Yeah, we just can't be doing that. And if we're serious about what our intentions for the season, we just have to go and win it. And this is not Brentford away. This is Wolves away. And we'll touch on their form in a minute. So what do you think? Yeah, you were alluding to what we'll do in terms of lineup. Fitness doubts around potentially White, Calafiori, Odegaard, Havertz. North London derby on Sunday. I can't see him going anything other than full strength, but I don't know what full strength is. So I'm thinking Braya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapié, Zubimendi, Rice, Saka. I'll go Saka, and then Madueke, Gyökeres, Trossard. I can't see anything different to that, really.
No, I think that'll be exactly it. I think the only one potentially would have been maybe Martinelli, because I thought he's played quite well. He obviously missed the kind of guilty chance against Brentford, but I think he's played quite well. But the fact that he played like the 90 odd minutes yesterday probably puts pay to that. And then it would be what happens in that midfield. I do agree. I think it will be Zubimendi and Rice, and I'd like it to be Saka. But
the only thing with Saka is his fitness, because and this is odd. Brentford, he just looked anemic in such a just like nothing there, and we all could see he did seem ready to play. Then he plays a half decent half against Wigan. So the only thing that might not be Saka is what's his fitness levels like. So that's, and you play Eze in there, we should still be fine.
Yeah,
it's not an issue sort of thing. But that's the only thing about Saka. So it's Saka or Eze, basically.
I think playing Timber and Hincapié, which we might be forced to do, does allow you to do something a bit more adventurous in midfield, and potentially if you're feeling slightly a wee bit more kind of throwing caution to the wind, do an Eze Saka with a Rice behind potentially, because Zubimendi was dead on his feet against Brentford, and yes, he didn't really play against Wigan. He came on at the very end, but if we give him a full week's rest, like he's had a couple of days, it's not exactly he's been on holiday for 3 weeks and he's had a full recharge. I would potentially, if it was me, I'm obviously not in that. I would, maybe if I was in the position, I'd take a different decision. But sitting here, right now, I would genuinely go Rice, Eze, and Saka. I don't think it will happen, but that's what I would do.
Yeah, or maybe again, what I think Arteta's maybe approach is, right, win the game, win it early, and then you start making the changes rather than hoping. But who knows? Again, it's hard to know with the fitness levels what a full strength is and how much North London derby plays on our minds. But let's hope we can just again do a bit of a Wigan on them. And look, we talk about Wolves, so yeah, they are 20th, played 26. They've only won one game, drawn 6, lost 19, scored 16 goals, let in 48, so a minus 32 goal difference, 9 points. Their one win came on January the 3rd against West Ham at home, and that was West Ham going through a poor period. before their resurgence. Yeah, their home form, they've won 1, was that West Ham game, drawn 2, lost 10. They got almost a 3-1 ratio, so scored 11 against 28. And in the last, so since they played us, on December 13th, 2-1, and since then lost at home 2-0 to Brentford, lost away 2-1 to Liverpool, drew 1-1 away to Man United. So they had a bit of resurgence around the new year. So 1-1 against Man United, 3-0 against West Ham, 1-1 against Everton away, drew 0-0 at home at Newcastle. So a bit of resurgence, suddenly a bit of life coming back to them. Or could they catch up with Burnley? And then lost at home to Man City, lost away to Man City, lost at home to Bournemouth, lost at home to Chelsea, and then drew away to Forest. So, so actually, if you look at it, their last 10 games, they've won 1, drawn 4, lost 6, scored 4, scored 8 against 13.
Yeah.
So they are not very good. Okay, they beat Grimsby, but only just 1-0 at the weekend. But it was a bit of a quagmire of pitch. So I don't know how much they rotated. I don't think they've given up, but but the writing is in massive letters on the wall.
Yeah. I mean, you say they haven't given up. I think their ownership have given up. They sold their number one. Like, I think if they had any ambitions of staying up, they don't sell Strand Larson. They keep a hold of him because he was getting a few goals for them. I think.
They bought an Armstrong from Southampton.
Yeah.
He was rubbish for them. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I haven't watched too much of Wolves this season, but from what I have seen, like the fans they just seem kind of like complete apathy now because they've been on the decline for a good few seasons now of selling their best players, Pedro Neto, obviously Jota before he moved to Liverpool. They've always had that. They've kind of been trending this way for a while now, and it kind of just like it is their time. So keep that stadium quiet because I know it can be quite loud, but I'm just not expecting that. Get an early goal, get out of there and go 7 points ahead of City.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you thought we had issues with our forward scoring, their top goal scorer, they've got 5 of them, is on 2 goals. Yeah. Only one of them is a striker, 2 are centre backs. So if you thought we had problems scoring across the front line, go and be a Wolves fan. So
own goal.
Yes, they need to sign own goal. So there we go. And look, in terms of predictions and previous history head to head. So in the last 10, played 10, won 9. Drawn 9, lost 1, and the one that we lost was it back in 21? It was the David Luiz penalty, non-penalty, dodgy one, and then also Leno gets sent off for the handball outside the area. So we were just a shambles back then. But in general, we have a good record there. We've won our last 4. It's been a mix of 1-0s and 2-0s, so not big wins, but still wins. And last year, away at Molineux, it was the Michael Oliver MLS rescinded red card game with a winner from Calafiori. But it was also the beginning of the end of Havertz as a footballer, because I don't know if you remember at the end, he was just sort of collapsed on the floor and he just looked absolutely spent. Yeah. And then we go and play Newcastle away in the cup or something like that. He just looked in bits. I've never seen a player just collapse to the floor like that. So it was sort of the beginning of his injury woes. But yeah, it's Wolves away. We have to get the 3 points. So what's your prediction?
I don't think I've kind of over the past few weeks of doing these, I've kind of started off the prediction by saying whether the other team will score or not, and I can't see them scoring. But invariably, every other week it's meant that the team has scored. So maybe don't listen to me. I think 3-0.
3-0. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds. I'd like a 3-0. I'm going 2-0. So maybe more, maybe more. You said 3, so I'm going to go with 2. So, but we're winning 2-0. 2. No, you know what I mean. Anyway, right, stop talking. I'm getting too lally now. Right, 80 minutes in on a 4-0 FA Cup game against Division 1 Wigan. But no, that was good. It was good. I enjoyed the chat at the beginning, a bit talking around the subject. It was good because I was thinking, 4-0 against the Div 1 in the FA Cup, so what? Move along. But no, I think yesterday's game there's always something, there's always interesting bits. I really enjoyed that. So thank you as always, Andy, for joining me this evening and having a good old chin wag. chit chat about the game, about the Arsenal. So yeah.
No problem, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, and enjoy. Sorry about the car journey, but enjoy your trip to Molineux, to the Black Country.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Send you a wee mini vlog from me and the boy Moz's big.
Yeah. Send us a voice message at the end of the game with your thoughts and stuff. So
to be honest, you for phoning it up after half an hour, I will be seriously influence him to get in the car on the way up the road. 5-hour drive.
Let's go. No, good for that. And enjoy anyway. And look, we will be doing a hot off the pitch after the game with Ian, aka Ask Ken and Pick. So keep an eye out for that on the socials. We'll be doing the live stream on our YouTube channel. And as always, you can follow us on Threads, Blue Sky X, TikTok, Instagram, all the socials at the Grove AFC. And as always, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a rating. Really appreciate it. And look, 80 minutes in. If you're still here, well done. I'm just about here. Andy's left about 10 minutes ago. And really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. And until the next time, come on, you Gunners.